You do not want to make the wrong decision when deciding if you're going to rent a home or purchase a home. I mean, on one hand, if you decide to buy, then you have high interest rates right now in the market and there's low inventory. But on the other hand, if you decide to rent, rental prices become more and more expensive each year and you're basically throwing your money away. So in the long run, if you make the wrong decision, you could lose thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. So that's why in this video today, we will be breaking down the real cost of renting, the real cost of buying, a rule that can help you determine if you should rent or buy, and a lot of actionable tips along the way. And if this video brings any value to you, I would really appreciate if you hit the thumbs up. It would help me with the YouTube algorithm. Now, the only way I see this being beneficial is if we pick out two comparable properties that are close in proximity, meaning similar square footage, similar bedrooms and bathrooms. That way that we can compare them, one being for rent and one being for sale. So let's check out these two properties. They are within a quarter of a mile of each other. One's for rent and one is for sale. Both are similar in size, about 1,700 square feet, and 3 bedrooms and 2 baths, each having a 2-bay garage. One is for rent for $2,400 per month and one is for sale for $309,000. Now, the cost to rent is very straightforward. In our example, the cost would be $2,400 per month to rent this property. And since it is a single family property, we can assume that you will have to pay for utilities on the property, including water, sewer, garbage, and electricity. So for water and sewer and trash, we will estimate a price of $175 per month. And for the electricity, we're going to go ahead and estimate $100 per month. So when you put that all together, your rent and your utility payments together will be $2,675 per month for your housing expenses. Now, here is a couple of things to note when you are renting. So typically when you do decide to rent, you will have to put down first month's rent, last month's rent, and the security deposit all at one time before moving in. And with our example, that would be roughly about $7,200 that you will have to put down before moving in. Next, the seller will be responsible for all maintenance on the property, so you will not have to budget for that in your housing expense. And lastly, as inflation increases and each year goes by, typically the landlord will increase the price of your rent. So you will not be paying the same amount you are paying now in year 1 than you would be in year 2 or 3 because they will increase the rental price. Now let's look into the cost of buying, which has a couple more factors to consider. Let's say in our example, we're purchasing this property for $309,000 at a 7% interest rate and we're putting 10% down. That means that principal and interest alone would be $1,850 per month. Now, when you purchase a home and you put less than 20% down, like we're doing in this example, you will have to pay for private mortgage insurance. So we are going to factor in about $125 per month for that. The tax bill on this property will be roughly $325 per month. For insurance, we're going to factor about $125 per month. So when you own a property, you will have to be responsible for the repairs and maintenance, unlike if you were to rent. So we're going to factor in $150 per month on average because we're going to estimate for the lifespan of you owning this property. So if you add all of those expenses up, you would be roughly $2,575 per month for your housing expense if you purchase. Here's a couple factors to consider when you are purchasing. You own this property, so every time you pay the mortgage, you are paying down the principal on that mortgage. And hence you are increasing your equity by making that payment every single month. Next, on average, a home appreciates about 3% per year. So depending on how long you actually keep this property, you are gaining equity and you're gaining appreciation through that as well. And because you own real estate, you'll be able to have tax deductions at the end of the year. You can write off your mortgage interest and your property taxes in order to lower your taxable income. But keep in mind, you will have to come up with 10% down of the property that you will have to purchase, and you will have closing fees associated with that as well. So it will require a lot of money up front in order to purchase real estate. The next factor is that you own this real estate, so if anything happens, it is on you. If the window breaks, if you need a new roof, if you need a new water heater, that is all on you. You are responsible for repairing all of that. And lastly, it is a fixed payment, so you know that it will not go up each year like if you were renting. Now, since we went over the cost of renting and buying, it's so important that you look over the opportunity costs as well. If you decide to purchase, then each month you will be paying down the mortgage, and with the 3% annual appreciation on the property, if you keep the property for 3 years, that would be an additional $27,000 that you would have increased the value of your property just by owning it, which is close to the amount that you had to put down to purchase the property in the first place. But in order to purchase in our example, you will have to put 10% down plus closing costs, and you will lose the opportunity to invest that into other places like stocks since you used it to purchase real estate. And vice versa, if you decide to rent, yes, you basically get zero value out of doing that and you're pretty much throwing away your money, but you did not have to put down the amount of money needed to purchase a home. So instead, you could use that money and invest that in a different asset so that you can make returns on it, and it may make more financial sense for you to do that. Now, there is a well-known rule when you're deciding if you're going to rent or purchase a property created by Ben Felix. I'll go ahead and put his video down in the description that you can go ahead and watch. Now that interest rates are currently around 7%, you will have to increase it to maybe a 9% rule. But hear me out and I'll just explain it as if it was the 5% rule. So the 5% rule is based off of unrecoverable costs that it takes when you are renting or buying. Unrecoverable expenses, sometimes referred to as sunk costs, are money spent on commodity or service that cannot be refunded or resold. A more simpler way to put it is that unrecoverable costs are money that you pay towards something that basically give you zero value in return, and you'll never see that money again. When you are renting a property, the entire rent that you're paying towards every month is considered unrecoverable costs because you'll never see that money again and it brings you zero value. But when you are purchasing, the 5% rule consists of 3 unrecoverable costs that make up the 5%. The first percent is made up of the property taxes you have to buy when owning real estate. The second 1% is made up of maintenance expenses when things happen to the property and you will have to get them fixed. And the last 3% is made up of the capital cost, basically the cost of debt and the cost of equity. Now, basically how the rule works, let's say you're purchasing a property for $300,000, you would take 5% of that $300,000 and you would divide that by 12. That is your break even when it comes to renting. So if you're deciding on purchasing a property for $300,000 or renting, if you cannot find a rental for under $1,250, it may be more beneficial for you to purchase a property for $300,000. And vice versa, if you're renting currently for $1,250 a month, it may make more sense for you to continue renting than purchasing a property that's more than $300,000. Now, like I said, this is just a guideline, and there are other factors to consider like location, different loan products, and interest rates. Honestly, in my opinion, the best thing to do is to purchase real estate. In my opinion, I believe that real estate is the best way to create wealth in our country. I know with the interest rates being closer to 7%, it gets intimidating and you don't want to overpay for a property and have a high monthly expense to where you are house broke. But create a budget and stay below your means and you won't run into that problem. And recently I had a subscriber comment on one of my videos and I absolutely love this quote. It's basically, time in the market, do not try to time the market. Meaning that you should not wait for the perfect time to buy because there isn't one. If you're waiting for the perfect time, you'll never end up purchasing. So purchase that property and wait and spend time owning real estate and you will see the benefits. If you liked this video, you thought it was valuable, I know you would like this one as well, where I go over if you should rent out your property or sell it when you're thinking about moving. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Happy investing.